We now turn our attention to golf, PGA Tour golf, the RSM Classic. This is being held over 2 courses. So we've got the Sea Island Resort Seaside Course, St Simons Island, Georgia, 7,005 yards. And we've also got Sea Island Resort Plantation Course, St Simons Island, Georgia, at 7,058 yards. So straight away you can see by modern standards these aren't massive courses, just barely over 7,000 miles. We've got 156 players in the field. As I said, 2-course format, Bermuda grass greens, which aren't, don't suit all players' styles. So maybe you want to look at players that have a good record of Bermuda greens, or players that generally putt well. I think there'll be a premium on good putting and greens in regulation. I think that's what we'll be looking at this week. Players with good iron play, good approach play. I think the fairways are fairly big on this course, so but as ever, driving accuracy is always important. But I think particularly this week, greens and regulations and putting. And, obviously stats for your number of putts on holes where the player has hit the green in regulation. I think that'll be important. So let's have a look at the field. I think we've got Kevin Kistner going off at the favourite, 66 to 1. I think in this field, it's always the same story. We're going to look for value. It's not a stellar field, so there's an opportunity to get some value. I think there's a lot of players that could potentially win, so we're going to try and find the players that are priced a bit more than their chances would suggest. So, players where their price is bigger than we would expect. My first selection will be for Matt Kuchar at 20 to 1. I won't mess around. Matt Kuchar. He's a good player. He's a quality player. He's a potential major winner. He's always there or thereabouts. His game is tidy. His short game is good. He's a very popular player, so he always has support on the course. There's always a lot of fans following him around. I think 20 to 1, of the shorter prices, that one really stands out. I think Kuchar is dangerous this week. In this type of field, he's one of the premier players there. 20 to 1, we'll take him each way. There's 7 places available, a fifth of the odds on Betfair Sportsbook. This is where I'm taking these prices. I'm going to go for Willie McGirt at 50 to 1. Someone we've selected in recent weeks. Another one of these choices. I like to stick to tidy players. He's another tidy, reliable player. Form is reasonable in recent weeks. Tied 10th in the Shriners, tied 25th in the Sanderson Farms. So he's there or thereabouts. Top 30, top 10s. That's nice, consistent play, and that's what we expect from William McGirt. And I think in this sort of field, it's a type of tournament. It's a type of field where he could come to the fore. 50 to 1 is a juicy number, in my opinion. We're going to look also to JJ Spawn. This is the 3rd week in a row we're backing him. He's just been consistent the last couple of weeks, and I can't look past him when he's in this type of form. He's obviously striking the ball nicely. He was unlucky, not last week, the week before. A couple of bad holes towards the end put pay to his tilt at the Shriners. But, tied 10th at the Shriners, tied 14th for the OHL last week. He's in good form, and we're going to stick with him. 55 to 1. I think it's a juicy number, and we're going to stay with JJ Spawn. Looking down the list, we're going to go with Martin Laird, 66 to 1. He's a player that I haven't really supported in the past, but I will in this field, and I will this week. I think he's a good player. I think he's a solid player again. Nice swing. Capable of a lot. He's a 3-time PGA Tour winner, so he obviously has the pedigree to win at this level. And he's someone that people who know about golf, his name is whispered around, Martin Laird, and I'm going to give him a chance this week. I'm not saying he's in the best form in the world. I think he missed the cut at the Shriners. I think that was his last outing. So that is not exactly the best way to come into a tournament of this nature. But it's more the field that I'm looking at here. Him in relation to the field and his price, relative to other numbers around. So I think 66 to 1. I think it's a fair number. I think it's, I think he should be about 55. So I think 66 to 1 is a big number. We're going to take it on Martin Laird each way. Next name, him, is Stuart Sink. Major winner, Ryder Cup player. Loads of experience. He's not the youngest man now, but you wouldn't know it from his scores. Still scores well. You recently tied 13th in the CIMB Classic. CJ Cup, he was tied 33rd. Nice and tidy. Admittedly, he missed the cut last week in the OHL, so not the best way to come into a tournament like this. But he's someone who putts well in relation to the greens he hits. He hits a lot of greens anyway, but when he does hit the green in regulation, he has very good stats for the number of putts, very low number of putts for those greens he's hitting regulation. And he's just a tidy player. He's experienced, and at 80 to 1 in this field, it's the type of tournament he could win. If there is any tournament that Sink is going to win, it will be a field like this. I wouldn't necessarily expect him, to win a major or win a Players' Championship or a big tournament like that, a big FedEx Cup tournament or whatever. But 80 to 1 in this field, he's dangerous, and we know what he can do. So we're not going to take him lightly. We're going to back Stuart Sink at 80 to 1 each way. We're also going to look to Robert Streb. He's a winner of this tournament in 2014. He is a player who is very reliable and very solid. It's fair to say that he hasn't been in the best form whatsoever recently, so it's a bit of a strange selection. I'm more going for the value. 100 to 1 is a big number. I know he hasn't been in the best form, but there's no way a player of his calibre in a field like this should be any more than about 80 to 1. He's out at 100. His recent results, tied 40, tied 69th, missed a cut recently. So these aren't good numbers. I'm not saying necessarily that I'm picking him on the back of his form. I'm picking him on the back of the value and what he's capable of. He's going to feel good this week because this is a tournament he's won before. Any player that's coming into a tournament they've won before, they're obviously going to have good emotions. He's going to have good feelings. He hasn't been in the best of touch. Maybe this is a tournament he can turn the corner. That's what he'll be thinking. So, we're going to back Robert Streb to find some form and perform favourably this week at the RSM Classic. So the picks, just to review, I've got William McGirt 50 to 1 each way. I've got Matt Kuchar 20 to 1 each way. JJ Spawn 55 to 1 each way. Martin Laird 66 to 1 again each way. Stuart Sink 80 to 1 each way. And we'll complete our selections with Robert Streb 100 to 1 each way. So those are my selections. I think it's going to be a very interesting tournament, especially with the 2-course format. Should be a good watch. I hope you enjoy it. Please make any comments you think are relevant. Please mention in the comments any players you think that have a chance this week and let us know why. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy the tournament.